Hello and welcome back and good evening. It's June Meagher here from Talking Your Walk. I've got a fabulous guest tonight. I've got the wonderful Katherine Creuynni, and I've known Katherine for many, many years. She usually opens a lot of festivals that I go to, and she actually closes them as well, the opening ceremonies and the closing ceremonies. But above all of that, Katherine is actually a shaman and has studied a lot of indigenous shamanic practices as well, indigenous to Wales, that is. She's a complementary health care therapist. She's doing some great work. She teaches a lot as well. She's opened up her own YouTube channel recently. She's doing meditation and medicine wheel. She teaches medicine wheel as well. So it's going to be fascinating finding out about Katherine and how she was as a child. So with that, hello, Katherine, welcome. And
Hiya.
Hi, can I ask you, how were you as a child? What kind of child were you?
I've been thinking about this question because a bit like an adult, really, kind of multifaceted. So I'm thinking, what do I share? Do I share the rambunctious, savage wildness, which I was, or do I share the other part of me, which was, you know, as well as being a little bit wild? I also was quite. I already liked people from a young age. I'm not saying I'm a massive extrovert, but I really love people. So wherever we would go, when my parents would take me, they'd find me talking to somebody. You know, if we were waiting in a queue somewhere, I'd like find another kid and I'd be there talking to them. So yeah, so you know, in relation to maybe the work I do, there was already kind of ideas, and also, you know, like in the play yard, if there was a kid not with no friends, no one playing with it, I'd be like, boom, zoning them out, bringing them in. So it's like, oh, there's little hints, and then there's other parts of me as well, the quite logical, assessing, creating mind. So for example, when I was little, I was quite ticklish, and of course, you know, with a brother and a sister, that's a weakness, you know, to be ticklish. So I kind of figured out a system to work out a way not to be ticklish. I kind of observed, I experimented, and I found a way not to be ticklish. And even now I'm not ticklish anymore. I can't actually remember I can remember working it out. I must have been about 4, maybe 4, something like that, maybe less, maybe a little more. And I can remember that process of working out, wait a minute, they tense up or they don't tense up. They do this, you know, or something like that, but I can remember the process, but I can't remember the actual secret. But yeah, and it worked out. Yeah. And now I'm not ticklish now. People just try, and I'm like, not anymore. I broke it. So, you know, there's lots of different elements as a child that you can say, oh yeah, this is how she progressed. Even that wild side, you know, a lot of it of this work is about, I don't want to say self-mastery, but it's about getting to know yourself, you know, and that emotional regulation and yeah, learning to express yourself, and yeah, so yeah. There's probably much more I could say, but that's just a few parts. Yeah.
And so were you in any way academic, you know, at school? Did you go on to do any exams, qualifications, or did you just give up on that? Or yeah,
no, I did. I went and did various. I did okay at school. I did okay. And did quite well in some subjects, and then I kind of followed the route to A levels and then on to degree. I say on to degree, it might not have been the best choice for me. I kind of like just got railroaded really, because I was okay at the subjects at academia. I kind of like, it was expected of me, so there was something else I really wanted to do. I wanted to go to drama school because I really loved drama at that time, you know, stepping into these roles and being this. But then I didn't follow my dream. I kind of went to a university instead. So I did go to university.
What did you study?
I studied English because I didn't really know what else I wanted to do. I just really love being in the theatre and that interaction between the audience, and you know, and lifting people's moods, and you know, all of that. So apart from that, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was getting the best marks in English, so I studied English literature. And that's where, you know, coincidentally, not coincidentally, that's where everything went, ooh, I didn't follow my heart. It might be just a coincidence. And I got really ill at university. I got hereditary gallstones. Really young age. I must have been about 13, 14 maybe when they started. And I was getting symptoms, but I didn't really realize what they were. And yeah, so I got ill. I wasn't able to complete it because I got so ill. But yeah, but then later on, I did go back to university after that. University I did find quite hard because I didn't realize it, but I got dyslexia. I've been diagnosed with dyslexia. I should say I've got it. I get told off by my educational psychologist person that diagnosed me. But I did because I had so many strategies. They didn't pick it up in school. I even got good marks at A levels. They didn't pick it up, but when it went to university, it was like a whole new playing field. So I didn't have time to create those strategies, and so it got picked up. So I did struggle. But I did go back a bit later on and did what I did want to do, which was first youth work. But then I didn't continue that because I was still struggling with my health. And then later, after I got into this work, I went back and did a degree with complementary therapies for healthcare, a BSc. And now I'm doing a master's in psychology, which is like, it's all right. It's all right.
Good luck with that, but that's taking an awful lot on, isn't it? That's a lot of studying to do. So when you sort of left the university the first time, what sort of jobs did you get into? I know you said you went back and did youth work. Was that something you get into, or what kind of jobs were you doing then?
Well, that's it. I couldn't work. When I say I got ill, like that's kind of a bit of an understatement. you know how sometimes the universe gives you a little prod, and like, come on, wake up. I got a few prods, and then I got like a few pushes. Wake up, come on, and then I ignored it, carried on, and then after a while I went splat, and that's all I can do. I had no choice but to get into the work that I was doing. This was the work. I can see where I like drama. I like the stepping into roles. I like teaching drama. I find it a really good kind of therapy way. I can see the youth work again. I was trying to help people in that way, but then it's really nice to actually go on more of a therapeutic side even more, so I can see where it was going. And when I got ill I had an operation, and unfortunately I was quite young, so when the surgeon said, oh, it's hereditary gallstones, that means you've got to have your gallbladder out because they'll just come back, I was like, oh yeah, okay. And just believe them. Unfortunately, there's other things you can do. There's the alternative. You can have the stone zapped, for example, you still can go the mainstream route, but I wasn't given that. So I had the operation, and they don't know what happened. The surgeon said maybe they damaged some nerve endings, but from all of a sudden, I was quite poorly before. But after operation, it was flat out. It was, like when you get toothache and like the nerve pain, like that. It was like that, but all over my body. It started in the gallbladder area and spread out. So I was just bedbound for years, and I tried all the strategies I could. I had a kind of depression when I was younger, and I managed to strategize myself out. I created a little system that's a little bit like cognitive behavioral therapy. I found out later when I learned about cognitive behavioral therapy, it's like, oh yeah, that's similar to the system I use to get myself out of depression. But for this intense, writhing, bonkers pain, I was strategied out basically. I just couldn't. I really couldn't handle it. I started learning meditation at that time, and I could get the pain levels down a little bit, maybe just to go as far as the toilet and back. That was about it. Maybe to get a bit of food and back, but that's about it. That I could bring that meditation levels down. The painkillers worked for a little bit, some really strong ones, but not loads. So I had no choice really, apart from doing the medicine wheel training that I was doing, because I tried acupuncture. Acupuncture is amazing, but it was like I was having to do it every week, and if you're not well enough to work, it's not the easiest to do. But when I did the medicine wheel training, I literally had no choice, and that's when I started to get better. I went from 99% bedbound to 98 to 97, 96 to where I am now. So so not a lot of work. I just did a tiny bit of youth work where I could, but I couldn't do very much. And then I got into complementary healthcare.
So was that your first encounter with the holistic side of life, was the meditation? You know, was
Yeah.
that, yeah, okay. So then you then went on to discover what else came in, what else helped you, acupuncture, you were
Yeah, a little
saying.
bit. Yeah.
And so then that's obviously lit a spark, you know, so going from English to drama to now looking at complementary therapy, that's a big change, isn't it? It's a huge change of direction. What made you decide, I'm going to become a therapist? Was there a moment when you thought, I'm going to become a therapist, I don't want to do that sort of youth work or drama work or English, you know, was it sudden or
Yeah, I
gradual?
wanted to do English. No offense, English students. Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't a choice. It wasn't. It really wasn't a choice. I had a choice, you know, because I'd go to the doctors and they'd try and help me, but they couldn't. They couldn't help me. And they told me, what did they say? They said basically I just had to live with it. One doctor said I'd just get worse, and said I'd have to live with it. So I was quite young, and I was, oh my god, I'm in pain most of the time. No, sorry, pain all the time. But I mean, in the writhing bedbound pain most of the time. I was like, oh my god, I can't do that. So when he told me, you know, you're not going to get better, the lovely stubborn, the young wild one from the childhood went, no, I'm not having that. So I had to look elsewhere. Meanwhile, I had been writing on MySpace some kind of theories, experiences I had. You know, I said like before I got pushed a little bit and I didn't properly listen. So when I got pushed a little bit, I got lots of insights, amazing insights, but I kind of didn't realize totally what they were because I came from a background, a culture that didn't really recognize this kind of thing. So I kind of shared them on a little blog as thought experiments, you know, exercises for the brain. And it was talking about, you know, how we are all one, that we are all part of God. We can create our own heavens here. That kind of thing. Oh, about it started off with time. I remember being in the back of the car, something going, you know, time doesn't quite make sense. And I was talking, which there was a physics student in the car, and she said basically I was talking Einstein's theory of relativity, but I didn't really know that. No offense to Askell, but it wasn't that amazing. It wasn't that amazing. So it kind of came from that, and so I shared a lot of these. And then a friend who read the blog, well, actually, I got to mention Martin Kopak first, because first, as I was doing it, saying, oh, it's just brain exercises. Imagine if this is true. He said, oh, this reminds me of Plato's cave, and he gave me the idea that, you know, the Plato's cave where people are looking at just the shadows when the real world is like out there. And he was saying it's almost like that I went out there. So that kind of first gave me the things like, oh, maybe it's not just these interesting thought experiments, exercises to the brain, which really, from the big intense experiences I had when I realized that, when I felt it, then maybe I should have had an idea. But oh yeah, it was amazing. Went to literally another world. It was brilliant. But another friend who read it, he gave me a book called Shaman, Healer, Sage by Alberto Villoldo. And he said, I think you're talking about what he's talking about. So I read the book and I was like, oh my goodness, that is what he's talking about. So these theories, these thought experiments, they're not new. They've been around possibly 10,000 a year, you know, of years. And he explained them in much more depth, a bit much more understanding, and with a whole load of new techniques to help me. So when I read that was like, okay. And then I found out he was doing a workshop in London. So bearing in mind I'm 99% bedbound, I don't know how I did most of this. How some medication, I suppose, but still. I went down to London to one of his workshops, and I did the workshop. And it was just like, oh yes, this is right. And you know, before, when I was coming out of college, I didn't follow my heart, and I saw what happened there. Like, this time I'm going to follow it. My heart is telling me to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I did the medicine wheel training. It wasn't just like that, because it was really expensive, the medicine wheel training, and it's understandable. You know, it's amazing. It's priceless. But it, you know, again, not being able to work for I don't know how many, a lot of years. I had to save up for a whole year to be able to do the first course. But I stayed up for the whole year and did the first course, and that's when it started changing. 99% bedbound, 98, 97. I don't know how I did it. I was lying on the floor a lot during the workshops and the training, and people would be like, "Oh, you're really close to the earth, man. You're really connected to the earth." And I'm like, I can't sit there. But I did it, and it really strangely enough, I've taken a year. It's the same price for each course. It took me a year to sign up to save up for the first one, only 6 months for the next one, only 3 months of the next one, and by the time the next one came on, and the next one, I already had the money, and that was just, it's almost like I made that effort, and the universe was like, come on then, we'll support you, and really supported me, and that's how it was. And when you do the training, you're healing yourself, but then you're working to heal others. So I didn't really have any choice in the matter, but I'm happy about it. It's that wounded healer to healer path. But I think I could have got on this path in an easier ride way. But it's the path. It's the path that happens. So yeah.
I mean, that's just amazing, the way you managed to get the money together and go on the course and then start seeing the change. So then, was that when you decided to go and do your university degree in complementary therapies? Is that what led on to that step?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was beginning to practice and help people. I can't remember how much percent I was then. So I couldn't work loads, but I was doing it. And I was noticing really amazing changes in other people as well, just as it had helped me. And I found, it's really beneficial. It's like, so how can you bring this more into the everyday world? And I saw the degree, the BSc in complementary therapies, and I was like, it counts as a complementary therapy. There's different names for it, by the way. There's like shamanic energy medicine, luminous energy healing, and the word that I use, the Awenydd, but it counted to me as a complementary therapy. So I studied the degree in the complementary healthcare at Wrexham and Hawarden University, which was really good. And that was really nice. And that's where I learned massage and lymphatic drainage. So that's quite good for me as well. So when I'm working a day, maybe 1 minute I'm doing these altered states, helping people connect with their inner wisdom in that way. And the next minute it's very grounded. Well, they're both grounded, but very physical, should I say. And working with the massage and the lymphatic drainage, which is good. But of course, that wasn't enough, because after a while I was like, I don't think this work is just complementary therapy. I think it's a really deep psychology, and some people had called it that, a very deep psychology. So that's how come I've ended up doing the MSc in psychology conversion as well. Who knows what's next? But yeah.
So when are you expecting to finish your masters?
May like either October, or if I get extension, maybe January or something. Yeah.
Okay. So in the meantime, while you've been doing the study and you got your degree, you then set up a complementary health centre up in Wrexham, didn't you? You had a little centre there that you were doing treatments from.
Yeah, well, we've got like a little home clinic that we work on, which is really nice. And we've got Hawarden Wellness Centre as well in Hawarden, where we work from. Some other possibilities as well, but those are the two that we work from. Just really nice, and just offering a massage. Work with Brian now, my partner. He does like massage and personal training, so quite the physical stuff. And I do the massage, manual lymphatic drainage, and then teach meditation and teach, or I should say facilitate really, rather than teach, facilitate the learning of the medicine wheel as well. It's really nice, and I've been transferring a lot of it online obviously recently, but I've been enjoying it. But it also means, because the amount of times I've run workshops and people have suggested that I record them for later, well, because I'm doing stuff over the internet, I'm actually recording them at the moment. So that's how come I've got that YouTube channel now with some of the meditations online.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, to see. So you obviously had lots of changes, and some of them were involuntary, such as bad health at that time. What sort of kept you going? Because I would imagine it would have been so easy to lie in bed with painkillers and think, I'll never move until the day I die, basically. Where did you get that strength from to?
I was gonna say, anybody that does choose to do that, I do not blame them. When you can't even move you know, you move, you get pain. You know, it's not. It's like it reminds me of the Little Mermaid story. Do you remember the Little Mermaid story when she can walk on land, but she feels like she's walking on glass? You know, and that's what it reminds you. Apart from the glass all around the body. So anybody that does choose to do that, I honestly don't blame you. It's absolutely insane. And the painkillers didn't even. They took the edge off the pain. You know, they didn't. You know, instead of writhing around in pain, I'd be lying in pain. You know, I couldn't just listen to music because it stimulated things. So anybody decides to do that, honestly, I don't blame you. But I think it's that, I suppose it's that wild child in me, that little savage, really, kind of like stubborn, you know. So people use stubborn as a insult, and I did some shadow work and realised actually being stubborn at the right time in the right place can be really useful. So that stubbornness, really, yeah. Yeah.
I'm really pleased that you did do that. So then where did you go after that? So you've got your centre now. You do the festivals.
Oh yeah.
And you know, you do your massage and healing work at the festivals as well. What next for you? You're going to get your masters. Have you given any thought as to what you're going to be doing next?
Yeah, I think I think I will probably explore the psychology field a lot more. I think, again, I feel a bit reluctant saying the word shamanic because it means so many things to so many people, and technically it's stuff from Russia. But say we're going to use that shamanic term, or we can use the Awenydd term. I really feel that it's got something to offer psychology. So I'm wondering whether I'm exploring that. It's hard to say, like for doing the MSc psychology, in a way, again, it's my heart telling me to do it and my head going, what are you doing? What I have, how can I say, I've got dyslexia. I experienced dyslexia, which makes it so hard. Everything, I can do it. It just takes me so long to do it, like 100 times, I'd say, longer than anybody else. So my head just, what are you doing? But my heart's going, no, you do it. And yeah, so I've learned now to follow my heart. So my head will later find out what the actual reasoning, but I get the feeling it's something to do with psychology, either whether it's, becoming more of a psychologist, I could bring some of this work in, maybe it's something to contribute to the field of psychology. My dissertation is on shamanic practice and why people use it, for example, which might uncover some things. I really think, psychology is just a different way of describing it. So things like, emotional regulation, cognitive reframing, all these jargon words I'm kind of learning, because I think that's what's happening in the sessions. Because to me, well, again, you can't generalize, but the way I work, it's a lot about connecting with that inner wisdom. It's really diving in, finding the answers for ourselves within, finding the root causes, seeing what changes they can be made, which, like I said, a very deep psychology. And already psychology is starting to move towards that field. They started the CBT and they've gone into ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy, which draws on Buddhism quite a lot. And and some DBT is, I don't know, it's a little bit shamanic. I need to learn more about it, but there's a little bit in it that reminds me a little bit of shamanic. And different things, so they call them the third way therapies. And I think that's going in because, just seeing what I can, I suppose, to get this kind of work open to more people, accessible to more people. It's fine being like the last resort. Like, when I came to this work as a last resort, I tried everything else, just about, that's okay. But, I was like, it was many years in bedbound pain, and if I could have accessed this support earlier, or for the same with other people, access the support earlier, then that's really good. So I think that's part of my drive here, to how to get this kind of work a little bit more out there and a bit more accepted. It might seem strange, but really it's not. I think there's some really clear, very grounded reasoning of what's going on. Some of it's a little bit more out there than others, but it's not that out there. When you think about the universal psyche, and even Jung talked about the universal consciousness. If you're going with that as well as the inner consciousness, and even science is talking about aspects of the earth and nature having consciousness that we don't realize. You know, when you start thinking that, it's not so strange. It's just yeah, pretty normal, but we're just not used to doing that so often. Well, not all of us anyway. I'm getting a bit too used to it, maybe.
But I think that's a good point, isn't it? A lot of people who go into the complementary field of work, you know, holistically, spiritually, whatever, they're usually seen as a last resort. When they've tried everything else, nothing else has worked, and somebody maybe suggests, oh, have you tried this or have you tried that? And then they go and try it, and then their whole perception changes. I know that years ago the BMA were asking doctors, you know, student doctors, to actually do a complementary therapy as a module as part of their training. And you know, I knew a few doctors who were doing really quite well with that, but they did some things like homeopathy or acupuncture. They were doing those sort of sides, and not a lot of them did the healing sort of side of that. But what I love is the fact that it is getting a lot better known now. You know, I think what happened there as well, things like Reiki came in, made it seem acceptable in the healing world. Massage, you know, reflexology came in and helped sort of people were doing massage. It is getting more accepted, and you know, a lot of the well-being programs now that are coming in through celebrities and through television programs is actually showing, you know, that, you know, this stuff works. This stuff really does work, and there's no weirdness about it, you know, because when I was doing healing, you know, when I was a young person, I was seen as totally weird, you know, still am to a lot of people. Including myself sometimes. I think, oh goodness. But there's you know, there is that element of acceptance now that there wasn't, and I think a lot of GP practices now are bringing in mindfulness. Mindfulness opened the door in a lot of places where meditation wouldn't even have got in through the door, because it was seen as religious, even though it's not religious, and mindfulness was born out of meditation. So that's opened doors as well. And you know, it's like people like yourself who go on and take this to a degree and beyond level, who are then, because you went through that path, rightly or wrongly, doesn't matter, you went through that path, so then what your opinion is actually much better received than somebody who hasn't been down that path. And maybe if you put some of the things that you've learned together and then write papers on that, then that will let the scientific world know, well, this woman's, you know, done her masters. She's, you know, she's not somebody that's, you know, a raving hippie or something like that they might have seen with myself when I was younger. So I think it's really vital that people like yourself are going on and taking this to another level, which will help, as you say, spread that word. And then maybe through all of that, people will then start to look after themselves before they need to end up going to see a doctor or a hospital. Yeah. I think that's, you know, taking that is really helpful. So you're still carrying on with your practice up in Wrexham and up at Hawarden. You're doing your masters. You have got such a lot in your plate.
Yeah, my head is like, what are you doing?
Well, you follow in your heart, and that's the best place to follow, isn't it? So if people watching this wanted to get in contact with you, how can they do that, Katherine? How can they contact you? Have a website that people can go on and look at?
Yeah, the website's quite easy. You know, with the Creuynni being a weird name, there's a long story behind the name, but because it being such an unusual name, you can just literally Google Creuynni, Creuynnni, and you'll just find everything, how you can contact me. The website's www.creuynnni.com. But there's, you know, that I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. So I'll join your group. I don't use it loads, and I'm on Twitter, hardly use that. But the main thing, the website, I think, and then I'm on WhatsApp as well. If you go on the website, they've got a WhatsApp.
And you got
YouTube.
you got your YouTube channel where you're putting up your meditations, which people are loving at the moment. So that's another. And
yeah.
You know, we didn't have the festivals this year that, you know, that was all put by, but other things will come out of this, and I'm sure, and it's giving you a chance maybe to focus on getting your masters.
Yeah. Universe happy with that one. Oh, yeah, so also that I'm on Eventbrite as well, because some of the, I do private workshop as well, but the public workshops is open to everybody. If you like Google Creuynni on Eventbrite as well, there's lots of different events. It's really nice. One thing about the lockdown is that I've been able to, you know, outside the lockdown, it's a bit harder to time it how you want. So with the lockdown, things are a bit easier to time around full moon and new moon and solstice and Imbolc. So I've been timing it around that, which is a really lovely experiment. So rather than just the Gregorian calendar, which I have to do in normal life, you know, that's when people are available and so on, because it's just so easy to tune online, I've been able to time it a lot around, the full moon and new moon, and it's coming into nature cycles, and it feels so good. It's like, it's not like it's whatever month or whatever date necessarily, although I do have to keep half an eye on them. It's like, oh yeah, we're coming to full moon now, we're coming up to new moon now. Oh, it's this part, you know, of the journey around the sun and so on. So that's been really nice. So if there's ever a full moon or new moon, you can take a look on my Eventbrite. That likely there'll be something. And,
Wonderful. And you know, Catherine, we know that a lot of people are going to be going through change, you know, in the coming months and maybe in the next year or two. Is there any piece of advice that you would give to people who maybe have found that they're having to change direction? You know, it doesn't matter, you know, but they've maybe stopped and maybe feeling despair or you know, something like depression, anxiety. Is there any advice that you would give them to help them through this at the moment?
Yeah, I feel from all the sessions that I've given and I've worked with, I do feel like the answers are within them. I really, really do, and they can just connect in with themselves and ask if they want more assistance. You know, you've got the meditation groups, kind of things like that, like the ones I do, for example, again, to connect in with them and to learn. Like one from today was really nice because we connected with the wisdom of the wood, the down element of the wood and the tree, and they were talking about. So I quite like direct wisdom. It's really nice to learn from other people, but I quite like to help people learn from it directly. So members of the group, for example, were talking about that wisdom of the tree, that's strong, that's tall, the roots in the ground, up to the sky, but then also that flexibility and also the fragility as well. You know, the leaves are quite fragile, you know, and delicate, and then the tree's quite strong. So there's lots of wisdom that you can connect with, and I think that's taught as well. You know, you can be strong, but then you can also be flexible and to flow. And again, you can do it by yourself. You don't need any help. You could do it with a meditation, go into a group or recordings, and you can also have one-on-one sessions with people. And you know, I really like your channel that you're showing a lot of people that you can connect with. And you know, it's finding what's right for you. It's what resonates with you. It's lots of it's doing. You know, when I went to a conference, a BPS conference, British Psychology Conference in Wales, and Professor Tumble was talking about, you know, all these different therapies, and they're all working with the same thing, you know, emotional regulation, being able to connect in that way and learn. So there's lots of different ways of doing it. It's just finding what works for you, and it's like no judgment on any of the therapies or which one. It's just like, okay, this is the one for me at this moment. And some one-to-one sessions can be really useful. Anybody that wants to do one-to-one sessions with me, are most welcome. I work by suggested donation, so I've got a suggested donation. What would be the normal price for this kind of work? Well, actually, normal price is sometimes maybe double that, but what I think is a normal price for this work, and but people can pay what they want. So it means you've got to be brave enough to say, look, I can't pay that. This is, you know, this is what I can offer you. Is that okay? You have to be brave enough to do that, but you know, bring that stubborn wild child to go, yes, this is right for me, and really do give what you want. I'm also offering once a month a session totally free. Of course, in the suggested donation business, people can just do it for free. They can just say, I'm not paying you anything, and if it feels right for me, I'll be like, okay. But you know, this one designated thing a month, okay, this is the free session. And I've also got one, you know, designated 6 a month or 5, 6 a month for like half price. So then people feel a bit more comfortable and like, okay, this is, I'm putting one of these allocated slots. So the once a month really is for those that are really struggling, maybe with thoughts of self-harm or suicide or something, that they're really, but you know, anybody that really feels like they need it, please take it. Otherwise you can donate. Ideally above living wage is good. But yeah, you've got that option with me. And there's plenty of other amazing therapists, and I've got some amazing students as well that you can find as well, who are really great. You know, they're just, yeah, it's really great. You know, when you see them learn and grow, and just like, oh God, you're amazing. So yeah, there's lots of people around doing stuff that I do. There's Four Winds Society, that was I trained with lots of different people from different countries and places, but my beginning one was the Four Winds Society, and they've got a practitioner list as well, so they're good. And then yeah, probably lots of people that you're interviewing as well. Would be, yeah, really good. I really appreciate what you're doing to help do this as well, bring the word out.
Well, you know, I think, you know, the more we can do to help people find some help when they need it, then, you know, it's an honour to be able to do that. So that's the main thing. Well, Katherine, it's been absolutely fabulous, and it's great to hear what you're doing on your journey as well. You know, and it's absolutely fascinating. I'm sorry I'm not going to be meeting up with you at any of the festivals this year, but I'm sure I'll be meeting up with you soon somewhere down the line. I'm sure we will.
Oh, do you remember doing do you remember doing co-ceremonies together? Oh, that was amazing. I always try to bring people in, and then bringing you in with the voice, and wow, you're amazing.
Yeah, we have a bit of fun. To me, it's all fun. It's all fun. So thank you very much. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.